Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Simple Racing Broadcast. Tonight it is the Alliance Sim Racing Gard Supercar Championship, and for round 6 we head to Sebring International Raceway, a venue absolutely famous for its unforgiving surface, relentless bumps, and the way that it'll punish even the smallest lack of mechanical sympathy. We were here Wednesday night last week with the MC3 GT3 Championship. Tonight, though, it's the big V8s, the Gen 3 supercars, that will take to the Sebring surface and try and survive 2 races under some pretty tough conditions. Of course, it's Sebring, and what makes it so unique is, of course, the concrete surface, the old airfield surface, and the constant transitions, which for a Gen 3 supercar are going to be just so punishing for the tyres. My name's Jared Cole. In the booth tonight with me, once again, I have Isaac Fogarty. And Isaac, Sebring always creates a bit of excitement, but Gen 3 supercars, it's not really a track that suits them brilliantly, is it?
Yeah, good evening, Jared. Good evening, everyone. I know you're not super keen. We were talking before broadcast that you're not super keen for Sebring. It doesn't feel like the best track for these cars, but I think it presents a unique challenge for our drivers tonight. We're missing a couple of names in there that we'll get to, I'm sure, shortly as we dive further into this race evening. But I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys tackle tonight and who's going to step up and really, put their mark on this championship, because this is a track where you can make or break the championship. It's so tough, it's so challenging. So I'm looking forward to seeing the racing action tonight.
Absolutely right. Tonight, 2 races, lone qualifying going on right now. 8 laps for race 1, 25 laps for race 2 with a reverse top 10 and 2 compulsory pit stops. The 70% fuel limit should pose no issue once again here this evening, but tyres will absolutely be the name of the game. For a bit of a closer look at what it takes to get a Gen 3 supercar around this circuit, let's go to our tame racing driver. It is, of course, Josh Harris, who takes us around Sebring.
Ladies and gents, welcome aboard the Gard Gen 3 Ford Mustang for a hot lap around Sebring International Raceway, home of the world famous Sebring 12-hour. We are here for round 6 of season 7 of Alliance Sim Racing. We're more than halfway through, and now we come to such an incredible circuit. Turn 1 here, very, very difficult, very wide turn 1 onto this narrow little shoot down towards turn 3, and we find ourselves in a never-ending series of corners here. Some people will short shift to third there. I prefer to run out to the rev limiter in second. Now we're onto another one of Sebring's very famous long straights, just managing the steering the whole way through this corner, making sure that we don't get any wheel spin, and now looking for our brake mark, which is absolutely critical. We come to the slowest corner on the whole track, all the way down to 65 k's an hour. Now we head back up on another one of these straights at Sebring that isn't really all that straight, managing the wheel spin again through all of these corners, and once again spotting our braking marker all the way back to second. Another incredibly difficult corner. Short shift to third to manage the wheel spin through these double lefts. And now we're going to get one of the most difficult corners, in my opinion, on the whole track. Hard to get to the apex here, and then also very hard to make sure that we don't run wide on the exit. Take a deep breath here and tighten the belts. We've got a double left hand here over 200 k's an hour in a car that really doesn't want to turn. And then a series of switchback corners. These Gen 3 supercars, incredibly hard to get to change direction, and this circuit at Sebring is so incredibly bumpy. Nice big exit curve there that we can use to manage the slide. And now another break as we head into Sunset Corner. Incredibly difficult corner, lots of different lines through here. I run a pretty tight one, so we're back to 4th before the first part of the corner, down to 3rd, and then this long corner. And as soon as we can spot the apex, we're hard back on the throttle, managing any oversteer. We're shooting for the line. It's more than 2 minutes. It's one of the longest tracks that we'll go to. It's an absolutely incredible racetrack. I wish I was going to be out there tonight, but alas, I won't be. I hope you all enjoyed the hot lap. Can't wait to see you all next week. Have a fantastic night, everyone.
Well, that is a hot lap around Sebring. The Gen 3 supercars will have their work cut out for them tonight. Qualifying going on at the moment, I can tell you that the times are, as always, very, very close. And of course, with just over 2 minutes per lap, there's not really a lot of room for error in this qualifying session. 2 lone laps is all these drivers had to get ready for racing tonight. About 4 minutes left in the session, so let's use that time to take a look at the championship standings as we come into round 6 here tonight. And the standout leader at this stage is Wayne Walker, ahead of Matt Vanderkraan, with Jason Bentz a fair way off the back as well. Locked in battle with Ryan Palmer, who's only about, 25 plus 7 points. I can't do the math. 32, I think, is about right, isn't it, Isaac? That Ryan's off the back of Bentz there. Stephen Varga not too far behind as well. So a very, very close battle. Less of a close battle for the Cup Trophy. Lorne McKee sitting in a very, very comfortable lead there, with almost 80 points separating him and Andrew Listener sitting in 13th overall. The real standout tonight, though, that's worth noting, unless it's changed, and I'm just skimming through the list of names now, but it does look as though Wayne Walker will not be on track this evening. So that will certainly make his championship defence a little more interesting as the drop rounds do come out. We'll have to see how that all plays out when we do look at the updated standings next week, I suppose.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. There's no Ryan Palmer tonight either. From what I understand, there's also no Ken Latter this evening. So we're missing a few big names at the point end, something we alluded to earlier in the broadcast. So looking forward to seeing who's going to step up. Matt Vanderkraan has a golden opportunity here to really make a run at this championship with the championship leader missing this week. He can make up some valuable points. Obviously, there will be a drop round that is served. So Wayne Walker at this stage won't lose any of the points that he has. It'll just be a drop round that counts as a 0 next to his name. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing what can be done this evening for Matt Vanderkraan, Jason Bentz, even Stephen Varga. Also an opportunity tonight, maybe if things go his way, to look at getting closer to that top overall podium.
And it's probably worth mentioning as well, Wayne may well still pick up some points because it'll depend on his drop round history. And I can't recall whether he has actually missed a round so far. I'm just going to take a very quick look now, actually. His lowest scoring round in the opening 5 was 242 points. So even with this week being a drop round, it's really not going to impact him too much at all. It will just be a question of what Vanderkraan can do to improve his standings. He had a pretty rough round in the second week at Watkins Glen. Only managed 199 points from that one. So, I think it's an opportunity for him, absolutely, to boost himself up a bit, but it won't be quite as much as he would probably hope for. The biggest challenge, of course, for Walker is that he can't really afford to miss another week if he wants to stay on top of the table. So this is always the way when you do have a week that you can't make it for whatever reason. Real life does get in the way from time to time. And on that note, a big hello to Brad Hayes in the chat, who can't make it in and is doing the dad duties thing with an unwell little person. Sorry to hear that, mate. Hope you're doing okay over there. And a big hello to everyone else out there watching on YouTube. We see some of the usual suspects. Matty Morgan's back, as is Brad. Good to have you with us, guys. And a big hello to Samuel as well, joining us in the chat. Keep us busy tonight, guys. Always a pleasure to throw ideas back and forth as to what we're expecting to see tonight. It's not a short lap around Sebring, so an 8-lap opening race. It does sound like not a particularly long one, Isaac, but at just over 2 minutes per lap, there's still going to be plenty of time for drivers to throw a few attacks in there, and I expect we'll see everybody doing their best to make a pretty early move on this, because it's a tough one to get a pass done in a supercar. There's not a lot of traditional passing opportunities, with the exception of perhaps the hairpin at the end of that first sector.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of opportunities. We spoke about this at Silverstone last week as well. You have to really create opportunities. So drivers tonight, if they want to move forward, really going to have to look for those situations, and hopefully they can present themselves. We do have our qualifying results in. So it is Matt Vanderkraan lines up on pole, taking full opportunity of the fact that we are missing the championship leader this evening and getting on that front row. Then it's Luke Ullman for 266 Sim Racing, Jason Bentz and Mark Poynton on the second row of the grid. It's Andrew Rushworth and Jim Capronis followed by Phil Manuel and Travis Daly on row number 4. Damon Fisher and Lorne McKee for the AM Trophy class in 9th and 10th. And then Mick Clifton and Andrew Hoffman just outside the top 10 on the 6th row of the grid. Then it's Craig Shaw's Stephen Varga, Jamie McKnight and Glenn Boyce for Mick Power, James Hardy, Nick Geary, I believe I'm saying that right, and Abel Verban rounding out your top 20. Looking a little further afield, we have Jason Douglas in 21st and Dave Diddell in 22nd. Then it's Andrew Listner and Rick Vargas. Andrew Listner a fair way back on his championship counterpart in Lorne McKee. Has a little bit of work to do tonight. Ernie Toth, Dave Galley, 25th and 26th. And it's Troy Sipple and Jason Dunn and Todd Martin and Craig Rose on row number 15. And we have... just looking a little, there was Scott Perrins, 31st, Ash Hall, 32nd, David Logsdale in 33rd, and then it says Ken Latta is 34th, but he actually didn't set a qualifying time, neither did Vince Salvatore, so I don't know if either of those will be on the grid. I believe Vince Salvatore is, but I don't suspect we'll see Ken Latta this evening.
No, I don't imagine so. Tim Nicol in race control once again, and we'll hopefully not have to get the safety car out tonight, because I can tell you Sebring is one of the most painful tracks to endure a safety car under. It's a long lap at the best of times, and under safety car conditions stretches out to almost 4 minutes to get around this surface. So hopefully everyone can hold it together for the opening race, which will be getting underway in just about 30 odd seconds time, plus a little. We'll wait and see what happens. Bit of support there for Jace Douglas as always. Just looking for him in the list. So 21st for Jason Douglas from JMR. So a little bit of work there to do, but plenty of opportunity to get it done here at Sebring tonight. Let's head on down to the track as we do get ready to go racing here for race number 1. And the lineup, take a look at it all the way back around the corner at the back of the main straight here at Sebring. Let's see what these guys have got in store. Just a couple of cars left to jump on the grid. We're just waiting on Andrew Rushworth at the moment. It does look as though all of the other starters are on the grid and ready to go. Rushworth has joined now as we await the green flag at the back of the field. A big thank you, of course, as always, to the sponsors for this series: Solar Guard, St. Cobain, Chubby Buns Burgers, Nicol Photography, and 24/7 Sim Services, as well as, of course, Quantum Tint Solutions and AA West Automotive for their ongoing support of the Alliance Sim Racing Series. We are just about ready to get underway. All the drivers on the grid. The lights are up. The revs will rise. Let's see just how messy this opening corner here at Sebring is about to get as we go green and get underway. And a huge launch in the background. One of the Quantum Racing cars immediately diving into the middle. Here comes Bentz, Poynton, getting ahead of Vanderkraan, Caparonis and Rushworth and Orman as well. I tell you what, Matt Vanderkraan, not the start that he was hoping for, but a brilliant start for Mark Poynton and for Jim Caparonis as we get out of turn 1. And already we've got a bit of a slide there. We're lucky not to get all caught up in amongst it. And the leaders head off down towards the chicanes. We do seem to be mostly intact. It looks as though it might have been Troy Sipple that jumped out of line there, and I believe he may have even jumped the start as well. So we'll wait and see. It looks like he's got a black flag already, and I can't imagine that's for anything other than a jump start at this stage as we come down to the hairpin for the first time. Let's see who decides to make a move. You can already see some of these drivers stacking up on the inside. It looks like Daly just getting through there. A new Chubby Buns livery in amongst it as well. We'll take a look at that one later. But all in all, relatively clean at the moment. Jason Bentz getting away out in front. Mark Poynton and Jim Caparonis right there. And Matt Vanderkraan going with them. But unfortunately not the start that he would have hoped for. We get into this technical back and forth section at the back end of Sebring, and it does look as though we are more or less separating out into this front 4. There's a bit of a gap back to Andrew Rushworth after that early slide from, I think it might have been Trav Daly or perhaps Damon Fisher, just getting a little bit sideways early on. But you can see already a bit of a gap starting to open up here, Isaac.
Yeah, it's starting to really just form this pack right off the bat, isn't it? Matt Vanderkraan falling backwards, and Jason Bentz really just putting his stamp on this lead group early on. And we've got a yellow flag for Dave Diddell and a black flag for Troy Sipple, I think, as you mentioned. So difficult start for them. there down the order. Luke Allman really lost a lot of spots off the start here and is down in 16th place. So not a great start for him and has a lot of work to do actually to get back into this one. But relatively good start for these front four. They're really pulling away from Andrew Rushworth in 5th, aren't they? They're starting to grow that gap out. We're on to lap 2 now. So it is a 2-minute lap, but I feel like this is going to, for these drivers especially, feel like it's going to go by very, very quickly.
Speaking of going by quickly, have a look at this shot as everyone gets down the main straight. Absolutely top speed here, and we will start to pick up some of the battles that are already shaping up here on track. We'll go to Phil Manuel at the moment, who's kind of in the middle of this second pack at the moment. He's challenging for 9th in behind Lorne McKee, who's had a fantastic start and still a fair way ahead of his nearest Cup Trophy compatriot in Andrew Hoffman from Southern Cross Racing. Stephen Vargas just off the back of that as well. So you can see there's a few close battles that are shaping up. And then speaking of, Vargas is going to take a bit of a move here on Hoffman up the inside at the hairpin. That new Chubby Buns livery looks fantastic, but unfortunately doesn't make Hoffman any quicker through the hairpin, and Stephen Vargas picks up 11th, which sets him up nicely to have a crack at that reverse top 10 in just about 6 laps time. Other movers throughout the field, James Hardy and Nick Geary both up 4 spots in 14th and 15th. Rick Vigar's up 4, Dave Galley's up 3, and that's a pretty decent start from quite a number of the drivers here this evening. The front pack are just starting to get themselves sorted out here. Matt Vanderkraan now all over the tail of Jim Caperonis. He's going to look for a pass. He's not going to get alongside as they start to make their way into this long sweeper, and then hard on the brakes. Vanderkraan's going to have to set up for a little later on. He just needs to stay in touch with Caperonis at the moment. And then you've got this massive mid-pack behind Rushworth. He's not quite that parochial cork in the bottle, but he's certainly, you know, at the front end of a pretty significant lineup. Here comes Vanderkraan. He's looking for the inside as we get down towards Sunset Bend. Looks for that side draft to just try and pull a bit of pace out of Caperonis. It's the great thing about Sunset Bend. As much as I don't like Sebring as a track, Sunset Bend is one of my favourites only because it does give you about 6 or 7 different lines you can take, and all of them are pretty similar in pace. Although Caperonis has been a little bit slow around the outside, he sets up beautifully for turn 1. He's going to push Vanderkraan right out to the wall here, and Vanderkraan will give him plenty of space, looking for a better exit if he can. Close to contact there as Vanderkraan just pulls out of the way in time as they get to the narrowed section down towards turn 2 and 3. Nothing to separate them just yet, and we're already on to lap 3.
These two are racing each other very hard, aren't they? It's such a long corner, the Sunset Bend. It feels like it goes forever. Just how they the sweeps around, you feel like they're just turning right for such a long time. This is Ash Hall all over the back of Vince Salvatore. There's a little bit of contact. There's more contact. We've got Dave Galley off the road. And Ash Hall's also dropped spots. So something's also happened in the background as a result of that contact. I believe he's taken, that's Craig Rose, so he's taken his teammate with him. It appeared that he got into the back of Vince Salvatore, locked up or carried a lot of speed in that corner, got into the back of his teammate in Craig Rose, and unfortunately there's been a little bit of quantum on quantum action, and now we have a battle for the lead of this race. It's Bentz and Poynton. Incident between car 99 and car 9 on lap 1. No further action.
Power, that one.
It is. Yes, so no further action. Race control feel like that must be play on. But Mark Poynton, he's really starting to put the pressure on. These guys have really broken away from Caperonis and Matt Vanderkraan, so they've fallen back into the clutches of Andrew Rushworth. Actually, the battle between Caperonis and Vanderkraan has cost them. And these two out the front, look at how aggressive they are, trying to battle away. Poynton is trying to find a way past Bentz, and if he can get a good run through this section, he could set himself up into Sunset Bend for an overtake. This is further back in that pack. This is Nick Geary with Luke Allman right behind him. A slowdown for Mick Power. So he has fallen ill of the track limits, and we'll have to serve that on the straight, which is an awkward spot to do it. You'll lose so much time here trying to clear that slowdown, and he does lose a couple spots. This is Douglas and Rick Vigar as well battling away. So there's still quite a number of battles happening up and down the pack, and we're on to lap 4 already.
Yeah, it's only a short one, but you know, 2 minutes of racing, it is a high-speed track. I'll give it that. And so even at a 2-minute lap, it doesn't actually feel quite as long. I mean, you think about somewhere like, I don't know, Spa, right? It's what, a 2-minute 30, 2-minute 40 odd lap. I can't recall off the top of my head, but it's only a little bit longer than this, but it does feel like a much longer track. There's just a lot more work involved in some of the corners there. Whereas Sebring just tends to flow a bit. Now, I don't think that'll cause any major issues here for race 1, but the tyre situation will be a real question as we get into race 2 and whether these guys can extract the most out of these lap times. Side by side, Vigar's defending inside against Douglas. Douglas is going to have to drop back in. Looks for the over-under. Don't know if he's quite going to get there. Vigar shuts the door on him again and continues. Bit of a wiggle there from Douglas as he tries to get the power down. Look at the slide out of the turn. It's going to cost him some pace. Mick Power might manage to close that gap up a little as a result. But Jace Douglas doing everything he can to get past Vigar and keep chasing up through the field. We'll leave this battle and jump ahead because there's a group now just forming up behind Andrew Hoffman still. At the moment, Jay McKnight, James Hardy, Nick Geary, Luke Orman and Craig Schulz all in this one. It's a pretty close little battle. Nick Geary is looking to make a move and try and get himself out to the head of it as he's all over the tail of James Hardy now. Can't find a way past just yet, but won't be far off, I'm sure. Let's jump on board with Luke Orman and see how he's doing. Once again, he's got the camera set up for us and you can see him working away there in the cockpit as he tries to hang off the back of Geary, who starts to get a bit of a run down this straight. And yeah, it doesn't look like it's quite as close as that, but it's only 3/10 between them at the absolute worst here. All of these guys still very close in together, and Orman in a great position to potentially pick up a couple of spots if something goes sideways ahead of him.
Yeah, he's really just trying to size these guys up, look for a mistake in the battle that these guys are having. He knows he has the pace out there. It's just so hard to get an overtake done. He really is just biding his time. But again, you're running out of time. We're on lap 5 already. There's not going to be many more opportunities to get this done. This is Douglas and Power battling away, and he's holding on to 20th place, or potentially maybe just moved up into 20th place. I'm not entirely sure.
He's just holding on to. He's actually dropped back a bit from Vigar, who's starting to pull away.
Yeah, wow. So Vigar's found a bit of pace. He's still got a bit of time to make up on Verban though, but he is starting to pull away from Douglas. You're right. So little group starting to form now. Little standouts in driver's pace. Capronis and Matt Vanderkraan are still battling. They have not made any inroads back on Benson Poynton at the front. However, they have started to pull away from Trav Daly, who sits in 6th place now. Andrew Rushworth we're on board with. He's lost a couple spots so far in this one. They've gone backwards and is struggling a little bit at the moment, it seems, with these guys in and around him. So he's under pressure from, it looks like his teammate in Lorne McKee now as well. So he's got to keep a very close eye on him behind, because he'll be keen to move forward. He's got a fair gap between himself and his rival. We've got a replay here. This is
Ash Hall, who's had a bit of a struggle to catch up after the earlier contact with his teammate, and have a look at that high speed off, and manages to pull it up just before the wall. I tell you what, I reckon he would have been sweating as he saw that blue and white concrete getting closer and closer, but gets it back on track and gets underway. I think he might have actually had a further issue though into Sunset. We'll have another look at that shortly. All of that has stemmed, I think, from the contact earlier on with Craig Rose, as we see just up ahead there. That's Matt Vanderkraan and Jim Caperonis side by side on the exit of Sunset. So this one is really shaping up now. Vanderkraan's gotten through on Caperonis. Caperonis has the inside line though as they come into turn 1. Look at the difference in approach. And in the background we've got big contact, heavy contact. That's Nick Geary and Luke Orman, who have both come together. Huge damage to the front end of Nick Geary's car. Luke Orman, I think, is perhaps redressing there, or maybe just trying to get rolling as well, but that's cost them both a lot of positions. We'll go back and take a look at that one in just a moment. Jim Caperonis has stayed ahead of Matt Vanderkraan for the moment, and they are hanging in there, but look at this, 4.5 seconds up the road to Benson Poynton.
Yeah, they have walked away into the distance, haven't they? And they haven't really been able to. Up the inside now, Matt Vanderkraan heavy on the brakes, trying to create an opportunity here at the back end of the circuit. Not a spot you'd typically go for an overtake, and he just can't find a way past Jim Capronis at the moment. He is doing everything to keep that Southern Cross Racing, the Chubby Buns Mustang, in front at the moment. and he's doing a wonderful job, but it just means that they're both susceptible to Trav Daly and Damon Fisher in behind. This little pack that's chasing them runs all the way from 3rd down to 11th on the road. So look at this pack of cars coming through. It is a large train of cars, and McKnight and Hardy and Hoffman and Schulz and Verban also not too far off the back of this. We could have almost 13 cars in a battle here in a train that starts in 3rd place very shortly.
Would not surprise me at all. Sebring has a tendency to do that. It's a tough track to get a pass done on, bar a couple of positions, and it really does take a fair mistake to find a pass opening up anywhere else. As we see them come past the camera here on the way down Ormond Straight, full noise as they head towards Sunset Bend. Let's go back and take a look at Nick Geary and Luke Ormond, see what's happened here. The Chubby Buns replay. Does Geary tap the wall here? Oh, just nudges it, and it puts him sideways. Nudges it with the rear end, I think. Maybe the front end. And Luke Ormond, really unfortunate. Wrong place, wrong time. Thankfully, doesn't look like there was much damage. But, yeah, sure enough, that's sent them backwards a fair way. As we see an incident being called through and a 5-second penalty being issued. Dave Diddell for the coming together with Andrew Listner earlier on in this race. And now Vanderkrant under huge pressure from Trav Daly, who looks like he might get this done. He's up alongside. Vanderkrant's going to be in prime position to defend this at the hairpin though, and we'll probably see him stay to the right hand side of the track here unless he's really confident that he's got the drive out of the turn. Watch for Trav Daly here though, because he's absolutely going to take a look up the inside, as is Damon Fisher. The Shark is in the background just looking for a way through. He can smell blood in the water. He knows that Matt Vanderkrant is under some pressure at the moment. Just needs to stay with them.
Yeah, he just needs to try and keep with them. There's an opportunity here, and I think he can as you said, sense that there is something there for him. Just needs to stay right on the back. He's right with them at the moment. Damon Fisher really just running deep into that corner, isn't he? Andrew Rushworth all over the back of him as well. So this train is still going on. There's multiple cars trying to find a way to make inroads through, but it's just so difficult. It's a hard track to get an overtake done, to make a pass stick.
Oh, there's contact.
Oh, and there's contact. That's
Rushworth and Damon Fisher. No,
Damon
Rushworth
Fisher.
and Fisher have come together.
Rushworth
Damon Fisher into the wall hard.
Oh.
I don't know what's happened there, but they've come together. Someone slid the wrong way out of that turn, and it's taken them both out. Andrew Rushworth manages to get it rolling again. Damon Fisher is struggling to get it back on track. It doesn't look like there's too much damage, but he just found himself all out of shape there, and he's going to drop all the way down. He's in 24th now. I expect he'll lose a fair bit more yet. The move is on here, though. Matt Vanderkrant, look at the squeeze up the inside of Caperonis, pushes it all the way outside to the cones. Vanderkrant's taking him.
Trav Daly.
Oh, Vanderkrant's hit the wall. Oh.
Vanderkrant got so wide there. That is heavy contact with the wall, and that, I think that's broken.
It's totally taken the front end off. He looks okay. No meatball flag, and we're on to the last lap now. So he's not going to be able to make this up. He really needs to try and get up one more spot if he can. James Hardy though is 2 seconds ahead. And he's got a lineup of cars behind him now. He's gonna really struggle to get back to 10th and hopefully get back to pole for the next race. I don't see that happening for Vanderkrant. He just needs to defend 11th and find himself somewhere close, but he's under huge pressure from Hoffman, Schulz and Verban all right there. We'll go back and we'll take a look at that if we get a chance, but now Jim Caperonis thought he was clear. He's now got Trav Daly right on his back. And further up the road, we haven't seen these guys much, but Jason Benz and Mark Poynton 8 seconds up the road. These guys have been pretty close together throughout this entire race. Not many moves coming. Poynton quite happy to just sit in behind for the moment. But these guys have just put in lap after stonking lap, and it's playing out nicely for them. We'll go back and we'll take a look at Matt Vanderkrant's incident just before those guys do get to the line. And Vanderkrant just really overcooking it through Sunset, and then goes very wide and taps the rear onto that wall. And yeah, loses the front bar. A little bit of damage to the suspension, I'm sure, but nothing terminal. So it could have been much, much worse for Vanderkrant. It is going to cost him a lot of spots, though. And he finds himself in 11th, leading a bit of a train as we get down the Ormond Straight for the last time here in race one. Benz and Poynton well out in front. Does Mark Poynton have anything up the sleeve in Sunset Bend? This is what it's going to come down to. He's going to take a big look up the inside. don't think he's quite going to get there.
No.
I think Bence will have just enough drive out of this, but to expect Poynton to push it pretty hard on the exit. The checkered flag is out, and Jason Bence brings it home. Mark Poynton just a tenth and a half behind, but have a look at the gap back to Jim Caperonis, who has Trav Daly all over his rear end. It won't matter, though, as they come across the line. And that front group really just flying through. Matt Vanderkruijm looks like he's just barely going to hold on to 11th. There was only a tenth in it for Craig Schulz, and Andrew Hoffman just a few tenths further back as well. Very, very tight finish as the rest of the field streams across the line. Not at all the result that Vanderkruijm would have been hoping for, I'm sure. But, you know, the way that it does crumble sometimes.
That's right. Unfortunately, it is sometimes the way that the racing cookie crumbles, and he'll be super disappointed. There's a couple of drivers I think are going to be super disappointed with that race. And
have a look at this
how
finish,
it
though.
ended for
Rose and
them.
Salvatore side by side of the line. Who's it going to be?
Who gets him? I think it's Rose.
I think Craig Rose. My timing is telling me he's picked that up by 1/100th of a second. We will just wait for the official results to come through, because that's sometimes just a little out of whack. It may have changed that line. Let's take a look at the official results. It's a long way back in the field, but we definitely want to check on that one. Jason Bence takes the win over Mark Poynton, then Jim Caperonis and Trav Daly, with Lorne McKee a clear standout in the Cup Trophy comp. Stephen Varga and Phil Manuel behind them, Mick Clifton and Jay McKnight. Then James Hardy from Quantum Racing will find himself on pole for race number 2. Matt Vanderkruijm finishes in 11th. Really disappointing, but you know, just a little bit too wide there, and pushed a little bit too hard, spun it around, and a reasonable recovery considering. Craig Schulz not far behind, almost picked 11th off Vanderkruijm as well. Andrew Hoffman and Abel Verban finish alongside each other practically, and Andrew Rushworth and Rick Vigard. Jason Douglas in 17th. Then Mick Power, Andrew Listener and Glenn Boyce complete a Southern Cross Racing trio to round out the top 20. As we look further back through the field, Ernie Toth and David Dedell, the 266 Sim Racing entries, split the Southern Cross Racing entries of Jason Dunn and Dave Galley from the rest of their group. Then Luke Orman and Todd Martin with Nick Geary and Scott Perrins. Then Damon Fisher, and have a look at that finish. Craig Rose and Vince Salvatore, 9,000th of a second in there, and Craig Rose has got it. Only just. But a very, very tight finish for Rose and Salvatore. David Logsdale and Troy Sipple a little further back. Ash Hall finishes 4 laps down. Ken Ladder not starting that race, but will appear on the results all the same. What an opening race for tonight. We've got 25 laps ahead of us still here, Isaac. I mean, if that's the quality of racing that we can expect in race number 2, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking it's going to be a pretty full-on a couple of opening laps as everyone starts to settle in. The question will be the pit strategy. Do we see anyone come in and try and take an early one to get some clear air, and then maybe run 2 longer stints, or is everyone going to split it into 3 equal components? I'm not sure what to expect here tonight. What I will predict now is that Matt Vanderkruijm's going to come in early.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the play. Get out of the traffic, try and give yourself some clean air, because he is quick around here. So not being caught in the train of cars, I mean, that he can just be as quick as he possibly can, set all those lap times. So definitely think that himself, and maybe even Luke Allman as well, is another one to keep an eye out for an early pit stop, because he definitely has the pace to move forward in this field. So the split strategies this evening, they're going to play a very interesting role. I feel the safety car also could play a role. We didn't see it in the first race, but there were a couple big incidents. So I think that could be alluding to something. Maybe something's brewing. We could see something a little bit bigger in this second race, but looking forward to seeing how especially some of these faster guys who are caught back in the field go for strategy early on in this race.
This is the Alliance Sim Racing Solar Guard Supercar Championship, round 6 at Sebring, right here on Simple Racing Broadcast. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Providing the best for your family means a healthy, secure, and comfortable environment. But the daily risks your family faces are often invisible. Solar Guard performance films protect what matters most to you. While you're concentrating on the task at hand, we're protecting your family from uncomfortable solar heat. harmful UV light, and glare. Our window films and protective coatings are designed with decades of technical expertise and provide a vision towards the future. SolarGuard provides added protection to the places where they're needed most, creating invisible barriers for increased security. The people of SolarGuard design carbon-negative solutions that can help reduce energy costs and improve comfort. Allow us to tackle the invisible challenges so you can focus on the important things in life. What matters most to you? We're on it. Saint-Gobain, SolarGuard.
Welcome back, ladies, gents, everyone out there watching on YouTube. It's the Alliance Sim Racing SolarGuard Supercar Championship here at Sebring tonight. The first race, 8 laps, was a very eventful one. We're about to get underway for 25 laps of Sebring. 2 compulsory pit stops with a reverse top 10 grid and the 70% fuel limit. Again, Isaac, I don't expect that to play much of a part here this evening, but we will see the pit strategy coming into it, and we'll talk about that as the race gets underway, I'm sure. We're just about to get the official grid come through, and we will take you through how they line up for race number 2 in just a few seconds, just waiting for it to officially flow through from iRacing as the warm-up session finishes. This is how they stack up for our second race this evening. James Hardy and Jamie McKnight will be going off the front row with Mick Clifton and Phil Manuel behind them. Then Stephen Varga and Lorne McKee with Trav Daly and Jim Caperonis on row 4. Mark Poynton and Jason Bentz will be at the back of the front 10 after their walk-away win in race number 1. That's Jason Bentz walking away with the win. Mark Poynton not far off, to be fair, but we will attribute that win appropriately to Jason Bentz, not to both of them. It wasn't a dead heat, so I better give him his fair dues there. Matt Vanderkraan will start in 11th with Craig Schulz on row 6. Then Andrew Hoffman and Abel Verban behind them. Andrew Rushworth and Rick Vigar on row 8 with Jason Douglas and Nick Power in 17th and 18th. Andrew Listener and Glenn Boyce round out your top 20. Ernie Toth and David Adele just outside that top 20 ahead of Jason Dunn and Dave Galley. Then Luke Allman and Todd Martin line up ahead of Nick Geary and Scotty Perrins. Damon Fisher and Craig Rose make up your 30 with Vince Salvatore and David Logsdale on row 16. Troy Sipple and Ash Hall will be starting at the back of the grid this evening. Tim Nicol not called on in the Chubby Buns safety car for race number 1. Race number 2, though, anything can happen, and often does here with Alliance Sim Racing. We have about a minute and a half until we get underway here this evening. Drivers are just getting onto track now. The temperature still reasonably warm, but the track has cooled down a little bit from earlier on. 26 degrees air temp, 29 degrees track temp at the moment. Fair bit of humidity around, but no sign of any rain, and just a nice light little breeze to get us through this second race. Isaac, my prediction, Matt Vanderkraan in, I reckon, at the end of lap 1 for the first pit stop. He's going to go for a heavy undercut. It's something that I've seen him do a number of times over the years, years of the stretch, over the seasons, let's say. It's something that he's known to do when he does find himself a little further back in the pack. Any thoughts on what to expect from the other drivers?
Look, I think if you're at the front of the field, someone like a James Hardy, Jamie McKnight, Mick Clifton, you're going to be looking at what everyone else around you is doing. You don't want to give anyone that's immediately around you too much of an undercut. They probably need to think a bit about what Matt Vanderkraan, someone like Matt and Jason are going to do, but we're not too sure. But I think we do have lights, so we're not too far away from a race start here.
We absolutely are. James Hardy and Jamie McKnight will lead us away as we go green for race number 2. It's a steady start. Look at the jump off the side there. Looks like Clifton getting underway up the inside pretty quickly. Stephen Varga's looking for an early move as well as we come on down into turn 1. And looks as though for the moment it's relatively clean, although cars all over the track. A little bit of contact there as well. And in the background it looks as though we've got just a bit of smoke around. James Hardy might have even jumped the start there. A black flag for him is unusual. Although actually, to be fair, I think that might have been was that a drive-through from race number 1?
as I'm not entirely sure. It could be. I'm just not sure what the drive-through will be for. Surely race control would be able to let us know if that was for an incident.
The drive-through penalty, that was for car 505 that was going to be served on this race. So that's 505 is Damon Fisher, the Shark, will be coming through. So Hardy must have jumped the start or something like that. At the moment, though, Jay McKnight's up 1 spot. Stephen Varga has had a fantastic start. He's up 3 immediately. Mick Clifton and Phil Manuel right where they started. Jason Bentz has jumped 4. Craig Schulz is up 4. Abel Verban's up 4 as well in amongst the opening of this second race. Not a bad way to start at all. Matt Vanderkran's still in 11th. I'm calling it now. Watch for him to come into the pits at the end of this lap.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to come in at the end of this lap. Didn't get the start he wanted. A couple drivers around him able to capitalise, move up some spots early. He has not moved up any spots yet off the start. So despite other drivers having a couple misfortunes, he's not been able to capitalise early. So getting out of this train is what's key for him in this situation. Same with Luke Ullman. He's 21st, so he's up a couple spots so far in this race. 4 spots to be exact, but really just needs to get out of this pack of cars, give himself some fresh air, and this is the key time, the best time to do it, I would say. So look for those guys to potentially dive in early here as we get towards the end of this lap, very long through the sunset corner, sunset curve. Are we going to see anybody diving in? I don't see anyone into the lane, so
Vanderkran's in.
Okay, Matt Vanderkran is in. So there we go. We almost called it. James Hardy also in to serve his drive-through. Luke Allman stays out. So Luke Allman has elected not to come into the lane. Damon Fisher into the lane to serve his drive-through from the previous race as well. But Matt Vanderkran, as we predicted, Jared Cole, he's in.
Yeah, not at all surprised to see that. He'll be trying for a massive undercut here. So he'll be filling up with fuel and running right through, I expect, to probably about lap 14 or 15 would be my guess, if not a bit longer. Drive-through penalty there for car 224, so that's Vince Salvatore picking that up. We must have had an incident early on in that lap, and with that being car 474 involved with it, David Logsdale. That's one that we probably missed in the background of that opening shot. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Lorne McKee, tell you what, he's driving brilliantly as one of the Cup Trophy drivers here tonight. Sebring's just really gelling for him at the moment, and really does just cement his position at the top of that particular championship count. Jay McKnight out in front, looking fairly comfortable at the moment as everyone starts to kind of settle in. We're seeing in the background, it looks like a few spots being lost here by Jason Dunn. Look at the quantum cars all stacked up here. We've got, what, 5 of them all in together. Nick Erie's trying to get up the inside there as we keep our eye on Jason Dunn. Ash Hall in the background, and there's Jace Douglas from JMR as well at the back of this pack. So pretty tight battle, and a lot of side-by-side action here as we see Dunn getting out of the way well and truly. So I don't know what's happened there, but he's dropped right off the back of that pack. As we see a quantum lineup: Troy Sipple, Todd Martin, Scott Perrins and Craig Rose occupying 21st through 24th. And there's more than a bit of the blue and yellow on track right now.
Is there a collective term for a group of quantum cars? I know
I would have thought it's just a quantum of them, isn't it?
It's a quantum of quantum cars, a collection of quantum cars. Oh, we've got side-by-side action on the run towards turn 1. That's going to end in tears. Massive contact with the wall. That is Jim Caprona's huge moment in this race. Massive contact with the inside wall on the run towards turn 1. And that is massive damage to the front end of the Chubby Buns Southern Cross Racing Mustang. And that is disastrous. Not quite sure who he was involved in that incident with, but that is definitely something the stewards will have to look at, because that is a huge crash.
It is, and I think that might have been Abel Verban who was caught up in that, and I'm not entirely sure. We'll go back and we'll take a look at it in just a moment as we see them streaming down towards the hairpin. Trav Daly looking for a move up the inside of Verban, and I think you'll get that done as well. A bit of a nudge there as well, getting Verban across and out of the way.
In the background.
That's Ernie Toth that's gone around as well out of the hairpin, just putting his foot down a little bit too hard on the exit, and finds himself facing the wrong way. Out in front, Jay McKnight looked like he was going to be under a bit of pressure, but Stephen Vargas backed it off again just a little by the look of things. we've got a couple of incidents to go back and take a look at. So let's take the moment while we have an opportunity. I do want to go back and take a look at the early one with David Logsdale and see just what happened there that earned the penalty. The Chubby Buns replay will pick this up. Where does Logsdale get? Oh, Vince Salvatore out of nowhere comes back onto the track across and absolutely slams Logsdale. I don't know how much Salvatore could have done about that necessarily, but the stewards will have obviously had a pretty close look at that before making their decision. Jason Bent's now catching the back of Phil Manuel. So look, fair enough. If there's something like that in it, then Salvatore will have earned that drive-through well and truly. Jim Caparonis, though, last lap right about here is where it all went down, as we see Bent's closing in. He's going to go for the move into turn 1 here, up alongside plenty of pace. The fastest lap in the background for Mark Poynton as he tries to catch this group. Opportunity here for Manuel to get over under if he can just get the power down, but he won't quite get there, and Bent's will wrap up P4 for the moment. Go back and take a look at the incident on the Chubby Buns replay again. And yeah, just side-by-side contact. They're just pushing and shoving. It's actually not Abel Verban. It looks like it might have been Craig Schultz, actually, who was in amongst that. But big contact for
Massive
the
contact.
Southern Cross Racing Chubby Buns entry of Jim Caparonis. And that will send him a long way back. He's in the pits now, having just made it around. So hopefully not too much of a repair to be done.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed that there's not a lot of work that has to be done there. Maybe has a fast repair up his sleeve. Luke Allman has come and served a stop. So he came in on the second lap. So we did predict he probably would come in early, try and get out of this queue. And he has done that, but not on the first lap like we originally predicted. So a little bit later for him. We've got side-by-side action now. This is Listener and Sipple battling for 17th place on the road. Sipple has the inside line into the braking zone. He should hold on to this position if he can keep the car position there, and he does. So well done. And Jason Douglas having a little bit of a think about a look, trying to get past Listener as well, but not able to make anything happen at this stage. Such a difficult section of the racetrack to get an overtake done. It's a very slidey section of racetrack. We talked about just off the air before we went live with the broadcast, Jared, just the multiple surfaces around here, the concrete and the tarmac just makes different grip levels, different grip limits for these cars, and it's so hard to judge constantly. And this is Mark Poynton now going past Lorne McKee. So fastest car on track at the moment, Mark Poynton, and he's making good use of that at the moment. Now, as I say that, Matt Vanderkraan actually now has the fastest lap of the race with a 2:05.3. So Matt Vanderkraan putting that clean air to very good use, like we predicted. A lot of our predictions coming true, Jared Cole. I think we're getting the hang of this commentary thing.
I don't know about you, but I'm just making it up as I go, mate. That's pretty much week in, week out. No, look, it's not surprising. We've seen Vanderkraan put this to pretty good use in past seasons, but it's been a little while since he's been in a position where he's probably going to make great use of that undercut off lap 1. But it is something he's been known to do when he does find himself further back in the field. As Sipple goes over the top of our camera, Jason Douglas is going to look to the inside here. He's not up alongside, so he gives plenty of space, and they come out of there relatively unscathed for the moment, at least. That front group still really, really compressed. Take a look at your timing tower. Not a lot in it. A lot of yellow and orange at the top end of the field. All of these drivers still fairly close in, although no one imminently thinking about an overtake, with the exception perhaps of Jason Bentz, who's closed right up behind Mick Clifton's Accelerate Sim Racing entry. I don't know where he's going to get it done. That's the problem. There's only a couple of really good spots here. Bentz needs to start planning out getting alongside Clifton, or needs to really send it into some of the braking zones, like at the end of Ulmer Straight as you come down to Sunset. That could be the move from here. Jamie McKnight, meanwhile, out in front, quite comfortable, still holding a few tenths over Stephen Varga, who doesn't look to be in a massive hurry to get past at this stage. It's a long race after all, 5 laps in of 25. I do wonder if we're going to see Vargs just at a certain point here think about holding Mick Clifton up just enough to allow a bit of a move for Jason Bentz behind. That's the challenge for Clifton here, is that he's got a quantum car either side of him, and if they're talking about it and Varga manages to just park it on the apex a little at the right moment, that could be all it takes for Bentz to get through.
Yeah, it's about helping
Jason
the
Benz is
teammates to
in.
create. Oh, Jason Benz is in, so he's going for the clean air strategy now, which is a bold call. I think he should come out in relative clean air. Well, that incident between 69 and 354.
So that'll be the contact for Jim Caperonis earlier, and not surprised to see.
354.
I think it was 654. Craig Schultz actually would be the one who was involved in that.
Yes, so I was just very confused. I was looking for a car that didn't exist on the racetrack.
Half the fun of this job, isn't it?
354,
Just trying to find people on track.
I think that 354, I'm pretty sure that's Ryan Palmer, isn't it? You know,
It must be
give
Ryan
Palmer a drive-through penalty.
Can race control just organise a drive-through for Ryan Palmer next race? Just because.
Yeah, that'd be good actually. Yeah, just because we can.
Lock up for Craig Rose. He's going to lose at least one position here, if not two. He's actually going to hold up James Hardy a bit. So Ernie Toth is going to get through, but he's caused a bit of a blockade for his teammate James Hardy. That Mustang now stuck in behind the Camaro, and look, I don't want to get involved in the debate that I know goes on in the quantum. Oh, there's contact. Oh, Hardy sends Rose into the wall, and that's a huge hit for Craig Rose. That's the motor gone.
That's the engine gone.
Yep, too much contact, and that car will not be moving anywhere. Will this bring on a safety car? That's the question. Let's wait and see whether he is deemed to be in a position where he needs to be cleared to tow, or if we do indeed need the safety car here. It's a tough call, but we'll wait and see whether Tim Nicol gets to stretch his legs here.
Yeah, he definitely very well could get to stretch his legs. That is a huge incident. I will say it's one way to move your teammate out of the way, isn't it?
Well, it is. It is a way to do it.
Not the method I recommend. There we go. Safety car. So out on the circle, we will get to see Tim Nicol this evening. And crucially as well, I'm noticing Matt Vanderkraan has jumped Jason Benz. So this safety car has now encouraged a flurry of action in the pit lane. What I'm keeping a very close eye on is where does Matt Vanderkraan come out in all of this, in amongst these drivers, because he can still send it at, I believe, relatively full noise. And there is Jason Benz not too far behind him, so he's got to keep going until he catches the next driver, or to the safety car, whatever comes first. These guys are in the pit lane. He's about to come up to Sunset Bend. Where is he going to pop out? This is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, or alternatively, does Vanderkraan come in now and do his second stop? I think, yeah, that's a good call from Vanderkraan.
That's a very good call.
Come in, do the second stop, and now run all the way to the end. It's going to be rough on the tyres. It's going to be 18 laps of Sebring on these tyres, but I don't think Vanderkraan had any choice but to do that. It makes perfect sense, and he slots on into the bay, and he'll get himself some fresh tyres, some more fuel, and he'll be setting up for a run to the end. Meanwhile, out in front, Jamie McKnight still holds the lead. Lorne McKee has gotten out into second. Phil Manuel and Mick Clifton behind, then Stephen Varga in fifth now. So Vargas has had a significantly slower stop, 56 seconds end to end, compared to everyone else running sort of 50 to 53 seconds. So that's not been his best stop, that's for sure. But we'll wait and see how it all pans out. It looks like everyone is starting to just catch up to the safety car now, and we'll get a wave through here, I'm sure, for David Logsdale as he takes off and allows Jamie McKnight to settle in behind Tim Nicol in the Chubby Buns BMW, and
yes,
he'll be enjoying the opportunity to be out on track, I'm sure.
He will, and I believe, given the events that happened last week, the mass confusion there was with the safety car last week, I believe there's a revised safety car procedure for this round. What that is, I don't quite know. It was a little bit broad in the notes that I did read, but I believe there is a revised safety car procedure about cars that are passing and overtaking the safety car. Once you catch the safety car, you have to wait until race control advises you that you're actually allowed to overtake the safety car, even if the safety car does slow and pull to the side. So you're not just to take that as a sign to go by the safety car. You have to wait until race control specifically advises that your number is allowed to overtake the safety car. And also in that situation, you're still not allowed to overtake cars unless they are majorly damaged. So the incident we saw last week where I think it was Jason Douglas and one other car got really confused, and Ken Latta and another car, I think it was Stephen Varga, overtook them and the safety car at the same time. That situation hopefully shouldn't occur anymore, given the changes we made to the safety car procedure and race control. And those guys all work really hard to make sure that this series runs as smoothly as possible. So massive thanks to the race control and all this league admins for just working with the drivers and sitting down and making sure that that process is as clear as possible, so that we don't have any more confusions, because we want everyone to be out there and racing, and we don't want to, you know, give anybody unfair advantages or create any confusion for anyone that might majorly affect their race.
Yeah, all tidied up nicely now. Matt Morgan, absolutely on the money. Yeah, that was the two quantum cars crashing into each other that set off this safety car period. And a big hello to Brad Cooper dropping by the chat, who is, of course, at the head of the Porsche Carrera Cup Championship, which you'll find on Wednesday nights on TrackSpot TV's channel. Well worth checking out, alongside, of course, the MC Motorsports GT3 Championship that we'll be covering tomorrow night. So do make sure you check out TrackSpot. You'll find their page linked just down below, and for some reason I'm actually pointing down as if I have my camera turned on. God, that's a worry, isn't it?
Well, sometimes you just
it's the old streaming days coming back to me, mate. That's what it is.
But commentary is a verbal thing, but you also got to use actions, and people might not be able to see the actions, but you know they're there, and that's all that matters.
Sure, we'll go with that. We're going to get another lap under safety car here. I would be surprised if we don't see the safety car coming in at the end of this one, but it does give us an opportunity to go back and take another look at that incident. We'll just see if we can find a good shot of it. The one we've got to look for is Ashford and Craig Rose. Let's see if we can get a good view of it. Maybe from our blimp as the drivers make their way around. The Chubby Buns replay. Here we go. So Ashford coming up behind Craig Rose. Rose runs wide on the exit 1, which slows him all the way down. Ashford's actually a fair way further back. And then you can see that Rose is ahead of Hall. Now, I'm not quite sure what happens here, but Rose just doesn't get the pace, or maybe Rose just decided to go the same way at the same time. Craig Rose on the outside, then comes across and brakes very, very early. I think he was actually trying to let Ash through, and unfortunately didn't communicate it or wasn't clear on how that was going to happen. And sure enough, he ends up into that tyre barrier, and with significant damage to the front end of that car.
Yeah, well, I think significant is an understatement. Again, that was a real supercar. You've been doing a whole front end reconstruction with the amount of force that he's hit that barrier with. But fortunately, here it's you get requested tow, you reset the pits, and I believe he has got a new engine in that car. He's back out on the track with a fast repair. So he is he's one lap down now, which is very unfortunate, but he is back out on the circuit, and that is the most important bit, is that he can get back out there and continue racing. Interestingly though, as we see the safety car peel away and get confirmation they are coming in at this lap, Craig Rose is carrying a black flag. I reckon I would bet my bottom dollar that on the way out of the pits he's cut across the pit exit line, because it's so easy to do here. And in fact, we might just have time to take a look at this as Craig Rose leaves the pits. Watch really, really carefully here for him to leave the pit lane. I reckon he'll actually cut across the pit exit line. It's not super clear at Sebring. And it's very, very easy to do. We saw this happen last week, where 3 drivers in succession across the pit control line, the exit line. Keep a close eye on the painted line and look for where Craig Rose does actually cross over it, because there's a blue cone a long way down. And has he cut across it? Oh, I don't know. That's an interesting one. That's hard to tell. It's very hard to tell there whether he actually has or not. but I'm sure there's a very good reason why he has got that drive through, and we'll keep a very close eye on that. Another one, keep a very close eye on. He's back in 21st. He's actually lost a spot to Jason Bentz in that second round of pit stops. So Matt Vanderkraan and Jason Bentz both got 2 pit stops to their name, but they have swaps inverted. So Matt Vanderkraan needs to find a way past Jason Bentz if he wants to have a good shot at winning this race. But we're now under green flag conditions. Jamie Knight has run away with this, hasn't he?
Great jumping from Jamie McKnight, and here he goes. Opens up a full second by the time he gets to the start-finish line, and is absolutely away. Lon McKee and Phil Manuel caught sleeping, and the rest of the field struggling to catch up behind. McKnight off to a huge start, and here they all come behind as they try and get caught up again. Craig Rose comes through to serve his drive-through penalty. The rest of the field, though, will be charging to try and catch up to Jamie McKnight. He absolutely caught them napping through Sunset Bend.
Absolutely did. He really just run away with that, hasn't he? Craig Shaw's drive-through, I believe that is for the contact with Jim Caponis earlier on, that he has to serve that drive-through. Is that now being finally handed down? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of that. But yeah, great start. Lon McKee into second, so he is really just performing out of his skin tonight, isn't he, at this circuit? Really, we said someone needed to step up tonight. Someone was going to have a breakout performance with a few big names missing. Lon McKee is certainly one of those drivers this evening that is having a wonderful performance, a really strong top 5 in race 1, and now on the podium at this stage in race 2, with a long way to go. Obviously, over half the race left, but he's really doing a great job of just performing extremely well. Mick Clifton under pressure from Stephen Varga, and that top 3 is starting to pull away and make their own little pack.
Yeah, they are, and the gap is starting to really open up to Hoffman and the next group back. We see the quantum cars come through side by side as well. There's it's really interesting how Sebring does this. Considering that McKnight was really the only one that got a massive jump, but the concertina effect coming out of Sunset Bend has really spread the rest of the field out. And that's going to be good news for some of the drivers. It's going to be terrible news for a bunch of others. And the further back you get, the worse it looks. Matt Vanderkraan, having done his 2 stops now, is probably in one of the toughest positions at the moment, because he's found himself a lot further back than he'd probably like to be, and he's going to need to make up quite a bit of space to the lead group when they do come through for their pit stop. Now, at the moment, the gap is only about 12-13 seconds, so that's going to be plenty as they all come through for their second stops, but he won't want to let it get any further away than that.
No, yeah, he doesn't want that gap to grow out too much. And again, these guys are really just trying to find a way to work through the field. They've got to do that as quickly as possible, though, so that this gap does not continue to grow to this lead group, because the last thing you want, as you said, is that gap getting too big and then not really being able to make the inroads on the leaders that you would like from being able to take that second stop early. So this is Stephen Varga, and he's under pressure from Mick Clifton.
Actually just made it through on Clifton.
He has made it through on Clifton. Apologies. Andrew Rushworth as well in the back of this group. He had a difficult race 1. Remember, he had that contract late in the race, which cost him a lot of spots. He is back up the order and pushing. This is Jason Douglas. He wants to get this move done on Mick Power, because he has got Jason Bentz coming behind. He gets that move done. That's a very lovely overtake. Puts a car between himself and Jason Bentz, and I think he knows that Jason Bentz is coming, has a lot of pace in that car. Matt Vanderkraan still holds the fastest lap of the race, but I would suggest that Jason Bentz is not too far away. That's Villan Salvatore that has spun and facing the wrong way. Not sure if he was helped there potentially by someone, or he just did that all on his own. It's pretty easy to do that all on your own around here. The surface is very slippery, isn't it?
It is. Ash Hall has gone off track at about the same time and about the same spot. You just missed him off the right-hand side of that shot. We'll go back and we'll take a quick look because I suspect there might have been a little bit of contact. The Chubby Buns replay. Keep your eye on Ash Hall here, the Quantum Racing entry. Vince Salvatore just ahead. Is there contact? Very, very much so. Significant contact, but for his efforts, Ash Hall gets just a little bit of a nudge. Again, not intentionally from Salvatore, just as a result of sliding through, and he finds himself off the track once again. Interesting to see a bunch of second pit stops coming through here.
This is early.
Yeah, we don't have a safety car, to be clear, but I reckon that that one's been called in Ash Hall has picked up some damage, and so everyone's anticipated a safety car here. And so they've all dived in for second stop. Some of these drivers haven't, mind you. Stephen Varga and Andrew Rushworth have continued on. But we are not seeing just yet any sign of a safety car being called. And so some of these drivers, look, they've taken a gamble on it, and it's certainly one that's worth taking. But it gives you a good idea of just how much of a difference that's made for Matt Vanderkraan, who's up into 9th now.
Yeah, well, and Jason Bentz as well. So that's made a massive difference. That's a big call coming now. Obviously, everyone expected the safety car to be called. The safety car has not been called. So I believe Ash Hall is still trundling back to the pit lane. It says on my map that he is still rolling around. He's actually stationary now.
Safety car has been called now.
So there you go. So that was a late call. So everyone has now got those second stops out of the way. But it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, I mean, you've got to take a shot at it. And those who dived in early will probably benefit the most from this. That said, all of the drivers out in front who didn't come in for those second stops, and I think it all started probably around about Jamie McKnight in 20th. Was around about where everyone started jumping in. You've got McKnight, Clifton, Manuel, Lon McKee. Those guys have all been into the pits. These guys out in front who didn't pit initially are far enough ahead that they can probably get in and out and not lose too much. They're still at full noise, right? They're still at high speed, so they won't have lost a huge amount of track position under safety car speeds. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The really interesting one, of course, Jason Bentz and Matt Vanderkraan. Bentz is just a few cars ahead. You'll probably see Listener pulling in here. Scott Perrins is going to stay out by the look of things. Probably, I suspect, to give Jason Bentz a little bit of teammate cover. The two Quantum Racing cars will find themselves up next to each other as we see Bentz and Perrins and Vanderkraan comes through, and Luke Orman finds himself just off the back of Vanderkraan, so he'll slot into 4th now. Rick Vigar behind him. Scotty Perrins is kind of the fly in the ointment at the moment, as the only driver in this group who has not made their second stop yet. Vince Salvatore back in 10th hasn't made his second stop yet either. But otherwise, we are looking at a very, very different front group as all of this pit strategy starts to play out. And we're only about halfway through this race now. Yeah,
that's it. Just to keep in mind, if you are playing home, we're only about at the halfway point. So, it's really early for these guys to get those stops done. Jason Bentz will lead the way. Matt Vanderkraan onto the podium. So that's a huge gain. That is 8 spots for Matt Vanderkraan, 26 spots for Scott Perrins, 21 spots for Luke Orman. So Scott Perrins is sort of out of sequence. He's yet to serve his second stop. Luke Orman, Matt Vanderkraan, Jason Bentz all done their second stops. They are done. Rick Vigar has also completed his second stop. So if I look at my little totem here to give you the numbers, the only drivers left to do a second stop are Scott Perrins and Vince Salvatore, who's in 10th. Everyone else in that queue has completed 2 stops, and there's the graphic on your screen there to give you an idea. So where everyone sits now, they're pretty much in order except for a couple drivers, which means that when this race restarts in a lap or two's time, it's all out. Like, there's no one's getting out of your way now. There's no one else that has to serve a pit stop. Every overtake you make you have to make the overtake if you want to move forward. So every position you need to make up in this race. If you're Jamie McKnight, you were leading this race comfortably, just a handful of laps to go, and now all of a sudden you're in 11th place.
Yeah, and this has really shaken the order up. I guess probably the challenging factor for some of these drivers will be just the length of racing still ahead. We're talking 12 or 13 laps. And it looks like we'll have another lap under safety car here, which is going to be great for fuel and great for tyre wear for a lot of these drivers as well. But the thing for us to keep an eye on here, there's a number of drivers who have made 2 stops now, who find themselves in some pretty incredible positions compared to where they'd usually finish. The likes of Rick Vigar in 5th right now, is on track for a great finish if he can hold off the rest of the field behind him. Jason Dunn finds himself up in 7th, Nick Geary in 9th, so a few Cup Trophy drivers who are going to be right in the thick of the top 10 when we go green again. They are really going to have their work cut out for them. They've got what will be probably 12 laps of green flag racing to try and hold in there. Scotty Perrins will have to come in and serve his second stop. Vince Salvatore will have to come in as well. But as we look through some of the other names further back in the field, there's going to be some pretty intense challenge at the top end.
It's going to be gloves off, I think, for a lot of these drivers. There's quite a few that will feel like they have spots to make up. Lorne McKee, who was driving brilliantly tonight, is down in 16th place, so he has a lot of work to do to make up some spots. I've no doubt that he will be able to do that, hopefully, with still half this race to go. So lap 13, we've got 12 laps to go at the completion of this one. We are 31 minutes into this race, so still about half an hour to go. Plenty of time, and it is pretty much an all-out sprint to the end. We had an 8-lap sprint race earlier in the evening, and now we're going to have a 12-lap sprint race to decide this one in the feature tonight. So, well, it was supposed to be a race that was going to be based on strategy, and in a way it has, but now this second safety car has really neutralised the field and turned this into an all-out sprint.
It has, and I don't know how this is going to go, quite honestly. The injection of a lot of these Cup Trophy drivers into the midst of this top 10 is going to really prove interesting when we do get underway again, as we see a wave through coming for, it looks like David Logsdale, shooting up the inside as we come towards the hairpin. And none of these guys are slow. Let's be really, really clear about that. The Cup Trophy drivers are not slow. They're just not as ragged edge quick as some of the names that compete in the top end of the overall championship. But the difference between them is not that significant. If we look at someone like, I don't know, Rick Vigar and Jason Dunn both have best laps of 207s compared to high 205s that we're seeing from the likes of Jason Bentz. Matt Vanderkraan with the fastest lap of 205.3. So there's only a couple of seconds difference around a 2-minute lap, which is not a huge deal. It does mean, though, that the opening probably lap or two will probably be a little bit hairy, because there'll be some of these drivers that really don't want to spend any time at all sitting behind the Cup Trophy drivers that have found themselves at the top end of the field. Likewise, those Cup Trophy drivers know that they have a huge opportunity to pick up some really, really sizable points here tonight, and so will be defending for all they are worth. So expect them to be putting those cars right over to the inside as we get through basically all of the turns here, and certainly parking it on the apex where they need to try and just hold some of these other drivers behind them. Bear in mind, they're in the Cup Trophy, but they're still competing for overall points. So it's not like they need to get out of the way here or anything like that.
No, definitely do not need to just pull over and let these guys go. They are well within their rights to defend those positions, and I'm sure they will absolutely defend those positions this evening, because they are going to be some really good points in the championship, especially considering Lorne McKee is in 16th place at the moment. Look at all these guys getting as wide as possible, sitting right in with each other. Jason Bentz will want to replicate what Jamie McKnight did on the previous restart and just absolutely walk away from the field on the restart through the sunset curve. So keep a really close eye on the man leading this pack. Keep in mind, Scott Perrins and Vince Salvatore still need to serve one more pit stop, so they are slightly out of sequence with everybody else. So once that does happen, Matt Vanderkraan and Luke Orman will inherit the podium, which is a massive comeback for Luke Orman, considering the start to the night he had. That sprint race result was not in his favour at all, but he is looking to bounce back. And here we go. Look at Jason Bentz. really just gapped the field now on the start. He really just went and caught Scott Perrins by surprise. He's a tight inside line through the sunset curve, and he has built a massive gap on this restart here, and that is crucial because it's not the car directly behind him, but the car behind him, Matt Vanderkraan, that he is racing, and it is 1.3 seconds that Jason Bence is already up the road on this restart, and we are underway once again. Green flag running. Vince Salvatore in the pit lane for his final pit stop. Scott Perrins still out on the road. He is playing the team game at the moment for Jason Bence. He is going to make it as hard for Matt Vanderkraan and Luke Allman as possible. He will run those tyres for as long as he can in this second stint. I definitely think there is some strategy to this.
Oh, 100%. There's absolutely no way that Perrins isn't going to be defending here, although it's surprising to see him actually hold the outside. Maybe just acknowledging that there's still a bit of sportsmanship in it, right? You defend hard, but you don't want to be an obstruction when you know you don't have the same sort of pace as the likes of Vanderkraan and Allman. Rick Vigar, and this is what's going to be really, really interesting to see here, right? Rick Vigar is holding up the likes of Capronis and Dunn behind, then Fisher and Geary as well, and a bit of a gap back to Jay McKnight, who got caught out on the restart. So we'll see how this goes. Luke Allman actually really struggling to get past Perrins at the moment. Scotty's he's not making it easy because he's not going super slow, and he doesn't need to either. Let's be clear, he doesn't have to get out of the way here, but he's really trying to hold Allman off and try and maintain this position. So even though Vanderkraan's managed to sneak through at the hairpin, Allman's not being given any easy way through. Perrins gets a little bit loose there. That was almost half a chance for Allman, but unfortunately Perrins slides across and in front of him, and so can't capitalise on that. Look for Allman now, though, to make the run down Allman Straight as they come towards Sunset Bend. He's going to really want to close this down and get in touch with those two out in front as quickly as he possibly can. Bence and Vanderkraan starting to pull away now, opening up almost 3 seconds. Here goes Allman up the inside under brakes, makes it look fairly easy in the end, and he'll keep on charging to stay in touch as part of the top three.
Yeah, he's really just trying to pull away. Made really light work of that overtake in the end once he got to the corner, but Jason Bence, fastest lap of the race, 2:05.1. He is flying now out the front, and there's a massive gap between himself and Matt Vanderkraan, so a lot of work to do. And Scott Perrins, he has done his job. He's made that gap as big as he possibly can, and let that lead grow for Jason Bence. Oh, McKee, he's off. He's
big
spun.
contact. Someone else has just hit him. That's Trav Daly.
Oh, Trav Daly. That is, he's torn the right front off that, left front, sorry, off that as well. That is super disappointing for both of these drivers. Law McKee was having a wonderful night, wasn't he? Up until this point, and the meatball flag is out for Trav Daly. Also out for Ash Hall again. It's got another meatball flag. So he's, I believe he's still rolling around on track. I will confirm that actually. Ash Hall is stopped on track once again.
Stopped again. Wow, Ash Hall is having
he is stopped on track.
An absolute shocker this evening. A few incidents going on there. I mean, we could well do. It's not impossible at all. It all stems from a bit of trouble on the restart. Dave Galley and Craig Schulz getting caught up together. We'll stay with this group for just a moment as we see everyone just starting to pile up a little bit behind Jim Caperonis as he leads out this fairly extensive train of drivers. It does look like, sure enough, we do have another safety car.
Yeah.
This is
Ash Hall.
Yeah, look, I'm not surprised. Let's go back and take a couple of looks at incidents though that have happened there as everyone does get around to catch up to that safety car. Let's go back to the restart. Dave Galley and Craig Schulz were the first to come together, and I wonder if this has impacted on Ash Hall at all. Have a look at right up the inside, massive lock up there from Dave Galley. I think that Craig Schulz, and Dave Galley's just pulled it up. He's managed to stay out of the way, but Craig Schulz just was that Craig or was that that was Dave.
I think it was Dave.
I'm trying to keep track
I'm so
here.
confused.
Dave Galley's pulled up to stay out of the way. Craig Schulz is just absolutely flowing through. And then Ash Hall all the way back at the start-finish line in through turn one. Just straight ahead. Big lock-up.
Locked up. Yeah, huge contact. That is super unfortunate.
engine's
He's
done again.
popped the motor. Yeah.
That'll be Ashwell done. He's used his fast repair already. Let's go on board. Is there an issue here? Just checking to see if there's a hardware issue. There's not. It's just a huge understeer.
Carried too much speed.
And yeah, just couldn't get it turning.
Yeah, that's super disappointing. Well, I will point out as well, what this has done, Jason Bentz's free kick that he got as a result of his teammate Scott Perrins playing rear gunner for him, has now been washed away, and Matt Vanderkraan and Luke Allman are right there with him again. So that advantage has disappeared on this next restart. So that is the danger you play with having the rear gunner. You risk having another safety car and losing that advantage. I'm not sure if this was pointed out as well earlier, Jared Cole, but we did have Hazy in the chat, Brad Hayes, say that he believes that the drive-through earlier for, I'm trying to remember who that was that got the drive-through, but as a result of leaving the pit lane was because the pit lane was closed.
Look at that run-in lock-up, the huge amount of understeer from Craig Schulz.
Yeah, that's huge. That
just,
is
just looking back at that incident. Yeah. And caught everyone up there. That was James Hardy getting the nudge from behind, not Ashwell. So yeah, it's look, it's not turned out well. Safety car is coming in this lap, so only a relatively short safety car period this time around. What can Benz do this time? Can he get a jump on Matt Vanderkraan, or is Vanderkraan going to be absolutely ready for this? Luke Allman sitting in third place at the moment. Let's jump on the nose for the rest of this lap and see what he's got in store as well. Benz, you'd have to expect that he's going to try and make a jump as soon as he hits the restart point, just down the other end of the Allman Straight. But Matt Vanderkraan will be absolutely aware of that. Maybe Benson needs to try something else. He needs to hold them to the last possible moment here and really, I don't know, make them second guess themselves as to when they're actually going to go here. Vanderkraan's going to just stay right on the tail. Luke Allman's looking fairly comfortable at the moment, but he'll be watching and waiting for any sign that Benson's about to take off.
Yeah, he will be really just. They'll be watching the car in front of them. So Benz will be watched very closely by Vanderkraan, and Luke Allman will be watching Matt Vanderkraan very, very closely here. We look for when Benz goes. This is where he went last time. Straight away. He hasn't gone as early this time. He's waiting longer, so he's changed the approach that he has on this restart. When does he go? He wants to maximize the exit and not leave himself vulnerable. He's holding them, and now he goes as they get onto the straight. So he's held them up. He's made them check up a little bit, and now Jason Benz on the restart. So we get our third restart of the evening, and they run towards turn one. Once again, under green flag conditions, everyone fit through fairly cleanly at this stage. Cars side by side. That's Douglas and Andrew Rushworth battling away. Andrew Rushworth trying to catch up to Phil Manuel. Can he get alongside to find an overtake early on in the piece? Douglas ranges up to the outside. Can he hang it around? He does. He pulls alongside. He's going to get the move done, it looks like, but there's an opportunity for Rushworth to come back at him here. And I think they're still side by side. This is still going on between these two at the moment. This is for 14th on the road. And who is going to come out on top of this battle? Heavy into the braking zone. The inside line will go to Jason Douglas. And he does get that move done and pass Andrew Rushworth up into 14th place now. Jason Benz has got about half a second now between himself and Matt Vanderkraan, so he's pulling away a little bit. He's opening the gap up, but not by a lot. Luke Allman is staying right with Matt Vanderkraan, though. He is all over the back of the rear end of that Angry Birds Racing Mustang.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot in this from any of the front group at the moment. Jim Caperonis is right up there as well, so he's up and past Rick Vigar. Jason Dunn behind that. Damon Fisher kind of caught in the middle of all of it, but there's not a lot of separation on track. Mark Poynton and Jamie McKnight, probably the next closest battle, although Poynton just dropping away a little bit behind there as we start to get towards sunset here at Sebring. And I expect if we've got our timing right, we might just get some fireworks for the finish here tonight is what I'm hoping for. It's one of the things I love about Sebring. if you time it right, look at this. Nick Geary goes to the inside. Jamie McKnight says, no, I'm going to the inside. I'll show you where the inside is. In the end, has to stay in behind for the moment. But it's actually brought Mark Poynton back into it, so the three of them will come out onto the main straight basically together, as you see in the background. Poynton almost running out wide, so the two Frogley Drift racing cars sandwiching Jamie McKnight's Fishy Motorsports entry for the moment. Jason Douglas in the background looking like he wants to make a move on Phil Manuel as well, who in turn is keeping an eye on Mick Clifton up ahead. It is all happening right throughout the field. This late restart after the safety car means that these guys will be absolutely charging all the way home. We've only got 7 laps to go or thereabouts, and it's going to be a full-on sprint from every single one of these drivers that are still in the race at least.
This is this is going to be an absolute sprint to the end. We talked about how the last safety car restart was going to be a sprint. This even more so. We're getting closer to the end of this race every single time we have a safety car period, and now we have 7 laps to go. This is pretty much sprint race length. It was 8 laps, so when the safety car restart happened last time, I believe it was actually 8 or 9 laps to go, which is the length of the sprint race. So we are at the point now where this is the average sprint race length. This is what they come to expect. The field reset, yes, they were single file instead of a standing start, but it's just the same. Drive through for Jason Douglas, so he's got a black flag, and we'll have to serve that within the next couple laps. And this is a replay of I believe, is this what happened? And there's contact there.
I think there
massive
was a bit
contact.
Of a push. We'll go back and get a better angle on that one.
Is this Lorne McKee that we're on board with?
Yeah, it was Lorne McKee that got caught up in it. And I think Jace Douglas coming up the inside through turn 1 there has given him a nudge, and that's why he's ended up with the drive-through, as we see Jamie McKnight giving up a couple of spots there as Nick Geary goes. Jason Dunn, and look at this, 3 wide down Allman. Who's going to back out of this first? I don't think anyone will, because there's plenty of room through Sunset Bend. We are 3 cars wide through Sunset. There's contact, and Nick Geary goes around. No, he saved it. I spoke too soon. Somehow he's managed to hold on to that, and we've survived 3 wide through Sunset. That was absolutely insane. And have a look at Jason Douglas, who's still trying to push on. He's going to leave that black flag drive-through until the last minute, because he is in amongst it and he wants to keep pushing ahead while he's still got a bit of drive left. In the background, Andrew Rushworth and Phil Manuel still side by side. They haven't sorted it out since Sunset. They want to keep on at it. Rushworth has to drop back, and now he's side by side with Geary. This is not a racing line, gents. We are going at 2 by 2 here. And I almost want to break into song about ants and marching and all sorts of stuff, but we'll refrain for tonight for you at home, listeners and viewers. It is, that is not exactly what you'd expect to see through Sunset.
Boys, what are we doing? That is insane. I think we need to just chill out a little bit, please. So I don't know if our heart rates can take it up here in the commentary box. It's quite a lot, and I'm sure these guys are absolutely feeling it in the commentary, in the cockpit, I should say, as well. Jason Douglas had a little bit of a look there. This is what happened with Lorne McKee. He's got a little bit of a helping hand, and even more so of a helping hand in Lorne McKee.
That's where Trav
and then
Daly
more contact with Trav Daly. I just arrived, nowhere to go, and then just backed it up, got it off the track to stay out of the way, but that is super unfortunate. And drive through for Jason Douglas as a result of that contact that led to the resulting incident. This is Damon Fisher and Mark Poynton. They're battling away for 6th place on the road at the moment now, so we're getting towards the pointy end of this race. Still fairly attached to each other. They have gapped Jim Caproniso by about a second, so they're starting to pull away at the front. Rick Weiger, though, look at the job he is doing. 5th place, and if he stays there, this will be the 2nd time tonight that we've had a trophy class driver in the top 5, and it's a wonderful result for Rick Weiger to be up 11 spots and be in the hunt for a top 5, and that's massive contact. That is Damon Fisher. He's done well to save that. I thought he was around for sure with that contact with Mark Poynton. He's going to lose a couple spots as a result. However, he's done really well to save that, keep it out of the wall.
It has indeed, and I think it's only turn 1. Oh no, there's contact for Jason Dunn, who gets up the inside, and I don't know if Damon Fisher knew he was there. He's managed to keep it out of the wall. But that's going to cost him a whole bunch of places, because, of course, this train is still so heavily compressed behind Damon Fisher. You've got Vargs, Clifton, Manuel. You've got Nick Geary. You've got Rushworth. Jason Douglas still with that black flag. He's going to have to come in and serve it at the end of this lap by my count. He's got to be getting pretty close to the limit. Look at Jason Douglas in the background running off onto the grass as he's pushing on as hard as he possibly can. He's got to be getting close to running out of time to serve that. Jason Dunn gets passed by James Hardy now, and here comes Scott Perrins and Vince Salvatore behind. Damon Fisher under huge pressure. Vargs is right behind him. Fisher's going defensive, sitting in the middle of the track behind him. Vargs and Clifton lucky to not have contact there. Manuel actually goes around the outside, gets a little bit of a touch from Clifton on the way through, but manages to hold on. Clifton's going to drop back, and now Nick Geary's going to have a shot at this as well.
It's all going on, isn't it? Everywhere we look, I don't think we can keep up with just the level of overtakes that we've got going on in this race at the moment. So many drivers just trying to do everything they can. It is sheep stations out there at the moment between these guys. There is nothing left on the table. They want to get to the end of this race and say that they gave it absolutely everything. A drive-through penalty for car 273. That is Lorne McKee for contact with car 77 with Trav Daly. So that would be because he just sort of stopped in the middle of the road and didn't get out of the way. I'm not sure whether he could do much there though.
Yeah, look, there'll be a ruling for that, I am sure. Pretty unfortunate for McKee in that instance, but you know, one of those things, I suppose, that he will no doubt take another look at the end of this race. And decide whether he does want to look at appealing that or whatever the case may be. For the moment, we stay with our attention firmly on this pack. Damon Fisher out in front, Stephen Varga directly behind. Fisher having a few little connection moments there, which would be absolutely terrifying for Vargs. But everyone's surviving for the moment. Lorne McKee's come in to serve that drive-through, incidentally, so he'll be back out on track shortly, but he'll be a long way down through the field. Out in front, Matt Vanderkraan is finally looking for a move on Jason Bentz. He thinks he's got it here. He's up alongside of the hairpin. Can he get the drive out of the corner? This is a game changer. Jason Bentz tries to get the power down a little bit too early. Vanderkraan's going to sneak through, look for Luke Orman to follow. Can Bentz keep with him? Is Orman going to have a shot at this as well? Oh, big slide from Bentz, and he's up and over the curve. Vanderkraan solidifies it. Bentz, is he going to throw it back up the inside? He won't here. And Matt Vanderkraan takes the lead of this race with just 5 laps to go.
That's a crucial overtake. That's let's say 4.5, and that's a crucial overtake. That's a crucial spot to get it done as well. We've seen a couple drivers make that happen tonight, but it's super difficult to pull it off with the way that the track switches back and forward through this section of circuit. So he's done well to make that stick in. Now Luke Ullman fancies his chances at the back of Jason Bentz as well. Jason Bentz, though, they're all on the same age tyres. These guys all pitted on lap 6. This was the last time they came to the lane. So yes, their tyres starting to get old. However, they're all on the same age size, so no one really has an advantage here, except for maybe how they looked after their tyres during the safety car period. But again, I would think there wouldn't be that much of a difference. So it's just all based on pace now. Jason Bentz still has the fastest lap of the race to his name. These guys lapping in the 206s at the moment. I'd suggest this lap might be a little bit slower due to the side-by-side action that we did see. But this is a very exciting battle. This is going to go all the way down to the wire.
Yeah, Will. Vanderkraan's starting to look as though he's extending that just a little, although you look at the timing tower, there's actually not in it, but it just starts to open up a little bit down the front straight. It's deceptive. Bentz has just messed up the apex there ever so slightly. Had to give a little dab on the brakes to keep it in line, and that's brought Luke Orman right up behind him. It's allowed Vanderkraan to get out to 7/10 now, and he'll be super thankful for that little bit of extra breathing room. Luke Orman, he might just have a shot at this here.
He definitely might have a shot at this here, absolutely. He definitely could find himself battling for the Matt Vanderkraan for the lead of the race if he can get past Jason Bentz pretty quickly. Seems that Matt Vanderkraan now has been released, does have a lot of pace, as you said. Not really making massive gains on this group, but he'll be pulling away ever so slightly. Jason Douglas is back in the pit lane. He's got another black flag, or has he just not left the pit lane? I'm trying to work out whether he did get given a second black flag there, which may be for accumulation of incident points across the race. So we'll keep close tabs on that one.
Douglas has gone into his pit bay. Now, that's an interesting one, because I'm pretty certain that this would have been the third lap for him with that black flag. Go into your pit bay, and that's not going to count as serving the drive-through for the black flag. I have a sneaky suspicion he might come back out here, or if he does come back out here, that he might find himself disqualified from this race. I'm not entirely sure how iRacing is going to handle this, but at the moment, either Douglas is getting some repairs. I know he's on his way back out. That does seem to have cleared it. So that's interesting. Maybe not taking any service in the pit bay, possibly.
It's a very interesting one. It's something I can't quite understand, but it has cleared the drive-through, so he doesn't have anything next to his name anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I can't quite explain that one. I don't have an
answer for that.
No, not at all. I wish I did, but unfortunately, I don't quite have an answer. He is still on the lead lap though, which is interesting enough. So for now, he is on the lead lap of this race. Matt van der Kraan, Jason Bentz and Luke Orman still battling away for that last spot on the podium. This is Boyce, Hoffman and Listener battling away. This is 15th place that they are trying to settle here with only a handful of laps to go.
And all three Southern Cross Racing, you'd hope that we don't see another blue on blue incident here this evening. I think we've already seen enough of that.
I really hope. Another black and more meatball flag, I should say, for Lorne McKee as well. So he's had another incident, unfortunately, and he is stopped on circuit just in the final sector. So he's not moving at the moment.
What was that? Was that a puff of smoke I just saw? I think it might have been. I think it might have been. We'll go back and take a quick look, but I suspect, yep, sure enough, the downshift has got Lorne McKee, and there goes the motor.
Oh,
well, I was just having a conversation this afternoon with a friend who some might know. I don't know if there's anyone out there who's familiar with Gerard Sanfuentes, who also not only watches along here from time to time, but does do a bit of supercar racing. We were just talking about how easy it is to pop the motors in these things, and I'm pretty sure we're now still averaging one per event at the moment, be it across ASR or MCV8s. It's a pretty common thing.
It is. We're getting one per event on the downshifts. We've had a couple tonight as a result of heavy contact with the wall and other drivers, but that's the first one we've got as a result of downshifts, and we do average one an event. So he is, I believe, still stopped on the circuit, but hopefully they've just decided he's in a safe enough spot we can run a green until the end here. So fingers crossed we do not see a safety car right at the end of this race. That would be something, wouldn't it? Hand Matt van der Kraan that victory that he's now about a second away from Jason Bentz. He's really built that gap out. Luke Orman, he has a couple opportunities left to try and get himself up into second spot, but this looks like a very well-deserving podium tonight, especially Matt van der Kraan and Luke Orman. Luke Orman especially, 22 places he's made up in this race.
Huge drive for van der Kraan from a championship perspective. Just finishing on the podium is going to be a great result tonight. It's a real shame about race one not going quite as well as he probably would have hoped. An 11th place is not going to net him as many points as he perhaps should have had as a result of that. Although, you say should have had a big moment for Rick Vigar under brakes, gets a little bit squirrely as Mark Point comes up the inside, but that lock of brakes allows Vigar back through, so Vigar retains fifth. He's on track for a very, very solid result at this stage with only a lap to go. I don't think we're going to see the safety car come out here, is my guess, although Lorne McKee still on track. It is possible that we'll see a late safety car call and finish this under safety car, but surely not at this point. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to call this one, because the new ruling is that they won't actually call a safety car until the lead cars are at a certain point on the track. This will be the telling one, though, is whether we do see Tim Nicol jump out of the pits in the next few seconds. I've not seen any sign of that, so I think we're going to be running green flag to the end here. Lorne McKee, unfortunately, we'll just have to sit it out on the side of the track for the moment.
Yeah, Tim Nicol is not moving, so this is going to run green to the end of this one. Lorne McKee will have to sit stranded In his supercar, maybe he'll do a Chaz Mostert at Bathurst last year and just walk over into the grandstands, into the fan area, grab himself a beer or something.
I mean, why not, right?
Why not? Why wouldn't you? You're not going to get back and drive the car, so you may as well. But yes, hopefully he's not just having to sit stranded in that car at the moment. But this is we're looking at Rick Vigar holding on to 5th place. He is defending brilliantly at the moment, but he's got Mark Poynton around the outside into turn 1, trying to get himself up into 5th place. There's a very tight battle between these 3 cars. Jamie McKnight is the other car that's involved in this. He is hustling Mark Poynton along, wants him to hurry up. He also wants to try and get past Rick Vigar. If Rick Vigar can hold on to this is a brilliant result for him tonight and valuable points.
Absolutely is. We're keeping a very, very close eye as well on Benson Orman, just in case anything does change there. This is the closest battle. No, you can see Vigar going incredibly defensive at the moment as he sits on the inside and parks it at the apex. Won't let Poynton through there. Jason Bentz is under huge pressure from Luke Orman. Matt Vanderkraan is out to 1.5 seconds now. Here we go. Mark Poynton's got to run on. Can he get past Vigar? Vigar's making that car as wide as he possibly can. Pulls it up again. Poynton no dice here as they come through the tight right-hander and start to get the foot down through the S sections of Sebring. I don't know about you, but I reckon Vigar is this close to a P5 finish here. It's just going to take a little bit more defending. He's going to be under huge pressure all the way to the end here. I reckon Poynton's going to throw a few more moves at him yet, and Sunset Bend will be the really, really telling one if he doesn't have it done by then. Still keeping an eye on Benson Orman. Jason Bentz still hanging on to P2. Matt Vanderkraan out in front really comfortably. He should take the win here. The question is, how's this one going to end up?
That is the question that we're keeping an eye on. How will this end between these 3 drivers on screen? Matt Vanderkraan is not too far away from the checker flag at the moment. Almost time for him to come across the finish line, but we're trying to stay with this as long as we can. But it's going to be Matt Vanderkraan gets the victory. A solid championship night for him. Jason Bentz in second, holds on over Luke Orman, but who's going to come out on top here? Jamie McKnight fancies himself a look at Mark Poynton on the run towards the line. Who's going to come out on top in that situation? I think it is Mark Poynton, but only just. Rick Vigar holds on to 5th. It is Mark Poynton and Jamie McKnight, then Stephen Varga. What a finish between those 3 drivers. We've got a couple more drivers going to go side by side towards the line. That was Boyce and Didell, I believe, that went side by side right across the line. Very, very close at the end there. Still cars coming across. We've got Salvatore will cross the line, and then Schulz as well. And we're waiting on just a few more cars. Scott Perrins is actually out of this race late in the piece, as well as Phil Manuel. And David Logsdale's already finished. Lorne McKee stranded on the side of the road. So we're just waiting for Jason Douglas as the last car. And he's still got a fair way to go. But Matt Vanderkraan, a very well-deserved victory tonight and a great statement to the man who is unfortunately missing tonight, Wayne Walker, that this championship is not over yet.
No, absolutely. And it will be very, very interesting to see what sort of difference in points we end up with once all is said and done here. I don't think Vanderkraan's going to make huge inroads to Walker's lead, but it will definitely be something from tonight, you'd have to think, as we see a bit of a congratulatory flash of the lights there from Jason Bentz as he comes up alongside Matt Vanderkraan. We're going to chat to him in just a moment. He will be absolutely stoked with that result. I honestly can't remember the last time that we had him in for a P1. It's been a little while. Jason Bentz is going to have a bit of fun on the way back as well, and why not use up what's left of those tyres? You love to see it.
Makes sense. Yeah, just get a little bit sideways, boys. Have a bit of fun with it, you know. Why not?
It's the SVG method,
definitely makes sense. It is the SVG method, isn't it? Those bald Kiwis, they do love to get a bit sideways to celebrate a victory, and I don't know if Jason Bentz is a bald Kiwi, but he certainly is channeling using a bald Kiwi in that situation, isn't he?
Let's take a look at the official results from race number 2, notwithstanding any after-race, post-race penalties that might be on the way. Matt Vanderkraan takes the win, makes it look a lot easier on paper than it actually was. Jason Bentz and Luke Orman not too far off the back. Then Jim Caperonis comes home in 4th. Rick Vigar, a huge race for him, finishes in 5th place with Mark Poynton and Jamie McKnight. Look at the separation there. I'm trying to do the maths. What's that? 13 thousandths of a second between them in the end. Nothing in it between 6th and 7th. Stephen Varga comes home ahead of Damon Fisher, then Mick Clifton, Andrew Rushworth, Nick Geary comes home in 12th ahead of Abel Burban, and then a Southern Cross Racing trio, Andrew Lissner, Andrew Hoffman and Glenn Boyce cross the line 14th through 16th. David Diddell and Ernie Toth from 266 in 17th and 18th. Then Troy Sipple and Todd Martin round out your top 20. Beyond them, Dave Galley and James Hardy ahead of Jason Dunn and Mick Power. Then Vince Salvatore and Craig Schulz with Craig Rose and Jace Douglas, the last drivers to finish on the lead lap. Phil Manuel, Scott Perrins, David Logsdale all a lap down. Lorne McKee, unfortunately, his race coming to an end 5 laps early. Trav Daly and Ash Hall also races to forget this evening. Not what they would have been hoping for, I'm sure. We have a few conversations to have after that one, but tell you what, the second race here absolutely delivered, didn't it?
It really did deliver, and look, I know we said at the top of the show, Sebring not necessarily a fan favourite, but I think it's delivered some brilliant racing tonight. Definitely some major incidents as well as a result of some contact, but there's been some excellent racing out there tonight. We have seen drivers fight for every single position that they've made up, and there's just been some really, really good overtakes, and I'm looking forward to getting a few of the drivers' thoughts on just how great the action has been tonight.
Well, let's kick it off as we welcome into the booth Luke Allman, who takes out a P3 in race number 2. G'day, Luke. Welcome on in.
Evening, gentlemen.
Well, that was an interesting one most of the way through there. A few safety cars shaking it up a little bit. How did you find the last laps there? I imagine it was pretty tough going.
Well, my tyres were pretty good at the end. I noticed Jason's was starting to fall off a bit, and I was just trying to push him into trying to make some sort of mistake so I could try to get a run, but he just stuck his ground, and I just couldn't get there in the end. But yeah, I just pitted early to get out of the pack, and it worked out well for me.
Yeah, and the undercuts really did seem to be the way to go here at Sebring, with all three of you, Vanderkram, Bentz and yourself, all coming in on lap 6 and getting that second stop done under the first safety car. That would have been a pretty bold call, considering just how tough this place is on tyres. How did you manage to keep yours in such good shape?
Oh, I just backed off a bit, dropped my throttle down. I was going to save, but when that safety car come out, it just came out at the right time, and it was just enough for me to fill up right to the brim and save a little under safety car, and I would have had enough to make it home. And then after the other couple of safety cars, I had plenty of fuel after that push.
Mate, a great result there for race number 2. Before we do let you go, anyone you want to say hello to, or any sponsors to shout out?
Yeah, just all the boys over at 266 Sim Racing, a great group of lads. 19 for our livery, Pagny and Next Level Racing, and you guys for the broadcast. I love watching you every week, and just everyone that helps put the league together and makes this fun for us all.
Luke, a pleasure to chat to you as always, mate. Thanks so much for stopping in, and congratulations on the results tonight.
Right, see you guys.
Luke Allman takes out P3 in the second race. We now bring on in Jason Bentz, who picks up second place on the podium. G'day, Jason. How are you, mate?
Good, guys. How are you?
Doing well. I reckon we're probably a fair bit less sweaty than the three of you up front. That was a hell of a battle after that last safety car. How are your tyres holding up at the end of it?
I knew I was in trouble when I pitted lap 5 for my second stop, so yeah, mine were gone.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that at all. It was a long time between pit stops there. Mate, at what point did you figure you just had nothing left in them?
Pretty much when the safety car got called for the second time, I think. I knew I was going to be in trouble. But same thing as race 1. I said to Maddie, I'm like, all I was trying to do was hold you off, because I didn't have the outright pace, and I was doing the same thing in race 1 with Poynton.
Well, mate,
He got it up the inside, and I'm like, oh, he's got it now.
It's one of those tracks, isn't it? Sebring, a really, really tough one to get a pass done, and if you can defend for long enough, you can come away with a victory when maybe the car's not quite there for it.
Yep.
Still a pretty good set of results all the same, and can't be too upset about a P2 in the second race here tonight. Before we do let you go, anyone you want to say hi to or any sponsors to thank for tonight, mate?
Shout out to Tint Solutions, Quantum Racing, Nicol Photography. I think it's West Automotive on the side there as well, and all the other league sponsors.
As always, mate, great to get a chance to chat to you. Congratulations on some well-earned points tonight.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Jason Bence takes home P2 in the second race, and I'm pretty sure for the first time in a little while, we're going to chat to Matt Vanderkraan as the winner of race number 2. G'day, Matty. Welcome on in.
Hi, boys. Nice to be here.
Mate, it is an absolute delight to have you here tonight. We were talking before the proceedings kicked off this evening about how important tonight really was going to be for you, with some of the main competitors not here for the race this evening. The undercut in race 2 serving you really, really well, and I'm pleased to say, mate, that I absolutely predicted to a T you coming in on lap 1. It's played out nicely.
I was actually thinking as I came in on lap 1, I'm thinking, Jared's called this and he's going to be pretty happy with himself about now.
Yes, I am. Mate, you're true to form, though, and it was the right call, obviously, in terms of the strategy tonight. How tough was it to make the decision to come in for your second stop on lap 6, though, under that safety car? I imagine that was a bit of a nail-biter.
Not at all. If you can get that second pit stop done and make it home, you do it. And yeah, no doubt a few safety cars along the way made that decision pay off, but I didn't doubt it for a second. I was always coming in.
And always a man of conviction with your strategy decisions. I wish I was that confident with my own. A great result in race 2. Unfortunately, race 1 probably not quite what you would have wanted. What happened in Sunset Bend there? Just overstepped it a little under brakes and couldn't pull it back in before the tyre wall?
Yeah, bloody Jimmy's pushing me into the wall, and which is all in jest. Well, I really enjoyed the battle with Jim. That was bloody great fun. And mate, there's a braking marker there somewhere, but I couldn't see it because I had a bloody car on the left of me, a wall on the right of me, and I'm just hanging on. And then, Jesus, I got a brake.
Yeah, it was a shame to see you go just wide enough to clip the rear end into the tyres.
Yeah, no, that was a surprise. I didn't expect to hit that there, and that destroyed me. But anyway, congrats to Jimmy, because that was really good fun racing.
Mate, it was great fun to watch right throughout tonight. Some great championship points here. Maybe could have been a few extra for you, but I'm sure you won't be too upset about the win here in race 2, rather. Before we do let you go, as always, anyone you want to say hi to or any sponsors to say thanks to?
We've got a few viewers tonight. The old man, as usual. Good day, Dad. And Chad Vigar, Angry Birds. He'll be watching in his hotel room in Queensland, hopefully back in a week or 2 on track. And any other people out there, the people who watch the broadcast, it's why we make a broadcast, for people to watch it, and you guys do a great job at putting something together that people want to watch. So well done to you, boys.
Mate, always a pleasure to chat to you, even more so when it's from a race win. Congratulations tonight, and hope you don't celebrate too hard, mate.
Oh, I will be.
Love it. Thanks so much for dropping in. As always, Matt, great to chat to you.
Thanks, boys. Take care.
Matt Vanderkraan takes the win in race number 2. And we will take a look at some provisional standings and see just how that might have changed things up after this round. Now, bearing in mind, of course, that there are drop rounds to be recalculated here tonight, Isaac, but it does bode pretty well for Matt Vanderkraan out of this. I don't know exactly how accurate Wayne's points will be, because he'll actually still pick up some points with his drop round changing over. As I said earlier, his lowest before this was still 200 odd points. So I would expect that he's still going to find himself somewhere probably a little further ahead than that. But the gap will have closed a little, and Vanderkraan will be pretty happy with that. Jason Bence should maintain third place, you would think, with Vargs and Poynton not too far behind in their own little battle, and Jim Caperonis in there as well. This is of course always the challenge with drop rounds. They get recalculated every time you have a bad round, so it does make it a little tricky for us to predict. It
does make it tricky, but I will say, ladies and gentlemen, with 4 rounds to go, I have a feeling this title fight is well and truly alive. Yes, Wayne Walker is going to gain points back as a result of having a 0 next to his name tonight, which means that he'll get his 200 and something points back for his worst round so far. So he will be a little bit ahead of Matt Vanderkran. However, the speed that Matt Vanderkran has out there at the moment, I feel like we have a real championship battle on our hands, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And likewise, I think there's still plenty of fight left in this yet. Vanderkran's having a great run. It's great to see after a few seasons of struggle and challenge for him. It's good to see him back up the top again, and hopefully can continue to take it to Wayne Walker. Take nothing away either from Jason Bentz, who's had a cracker of a season and is right in amongst it as well. There's a few names there, though, who still are hovering on the very, very edge of being in a podium position. Stephen Varga, Mark Point, Jim Caparonis, all still in with a shot with 4 rounds to go. It's been a fantastic night of racing here at Sebring. We'll be back again next week for round 7 at Suzuka with the Alliance Sim Racing SolarGuard Supercar Championship. And, of course, a massive thanks, as always, to SolarGuard for their support of this series. If you don't want to wait till then for more racing action, make sure you do join us tomorrow night for the MC Motorsport GT3 Championship. The continuation of that series will be right here on Simple Racing Broadcasts tomorrow evening. Otherwise, we will see you back here whenever you next decide to join us. We'll be back next week with more fantastic racing action. A huge thank you to all of our other sponsors here tonight with ASR, Chubby Buns Burgers, of course, for those lucky enough to live somewhere nearby at Chubby Buns. Go get yourself a burger. You've earned it just trying to keep up with this racing tonight. A massive thank you to Quantum Tint Solutions at West Automotive, as well as Nicol Photography and 24/7 Sim Services for your race control support. It's been an absolute pleasure once again tonight to have you all along at home and viewing some of the best V8 supercar racing you will find anywhere in Australia. My name's Jared Cole on behalf of Isaac Fogarty and everyone else here at Simple Racing Broadcast. Thank you so much for sticking with us for another night of racing, and we can't wait to have you back again. Until next time, though, it is goodbye for now.